It's hard to argue against the 80s as the golden age of pop. The 50s, 60s, and 70s may have defined rock and soul, but when it comes to pure, chart-dominating top 40 magic, nothing hits quite like the 1980s. It was a decade overflowing with iconic artists, massive hooks, and hit after hit that still sound just as good today. But which songs truly stand above the rest? It's not an easy call, but it's one that we're diving into right here on Loving the 80s. Let's start off with Michael Jackson and Billie Jean. Now, any list of 80s pop has to be headed off by a track from Michael Jackson's Thriller. Not only was it the best-selling album of the decade, but it was a cultural phenomenon that broke barriers. Michael Jackson, while somewhat controversial now, was universally beloved at the time. Really, he was. I mean, everybody liked Michael Jackson.
You're being ignorant.
He was a kind of one-man Beatles. There are probably half a dozen Michael Jackson songs that one could make a case for being one of the best pop songs of the 80s, but Billie Jean is particularly important. You see, the rise of Michael Jackson to the kind of international superstardom that dwarfed his success with the Jackson 5, or even his solo work with Off the Wall, which was a 10 million selling album in its own right, was tied to the rise of MTV. A cable station started broadcasting in late 1981. It popularized the then nascent music video format, to the point that if your look and style didn't match the medium, your career went downhill. Just ask Christopher Cross. Jackson was uniquely suited to the medium, not only possessing good looks and style, but also incredible dancing talent that put him up there with the greats, including Bob Fosse, Fred Astaire, Gene Kelly, and the Nicholas Brothers. Billie Jean, while not only a banger of an anthem with its syncopated danceable groove, demonstrated his dancing skills in all their glory, as well as his signature look. It was the album's first single and music video, but at first, MTV didn't give it much airtime, with them reluctant to play black, or as they would call it, urban music. It was only when CBS Records threatened to pull all their videos from all their other artists that MTV started playing the video. And the result, coupled with the release of Beat It just a month later, made MTV a phenomenon. Without Billie Jean, it's unlikely MTV would have had the impact that it did, and pop music as we know it would never be the same. Next up is a-ha, Take On Me. Outside of maybe Michael Jackson's Thriller, the most played music video of the decade has to be for Norwegian synth-pop band a-ha's Take On Me. While a great song in its own right, and perhaps the signature song of the decade for a lot of people, it too was propelled by the music video, which, like that for Billie Jean, was directed by Steve Barron. It featured a unique mix of animation and live action, telling a story of its own, where a woman falls in love with a man illustrated in a comic book who draws her into his world and later escapes into hers. The song itself is a pop masterpiece brilliantly sung by vocalist Morten Harket, with it routinely called the hardest song to nail if you're singing it doing karaoke. And sure, we've all tried, right? You suck! Yet it proved to be something of an albatross for the band, with it their only song to really have major success in North America. This led many to dismiss them as a one-hit wonder, but they really weren't, as they had tremendous success internationally, even singing the theme song for a James Bond movie. And hey, they don't just ask anybody to sing a theme song for a James Bond movie. The band has had a fractured history, with their relationships notoriously fraught, but they still can rouse people with this song, with the stripped-down version they sang on MTV Unplugged several years ago, making the song a global hit all over again.
Take on me. Every smile you fake, every claim you speak, I'll be watching you.
And from a-ha, we go to another band, The Police, with Every Breath You Take. Despite having a long career that's still going to this day, and one that's peppered with classic tracks, nothing Sting has ever done has had the same staying power as one of his last singles as part of The Police, Every Breath You Take. To this day, it generates anywhere from a quarter to a third of Sting's music publishing income, and as far as pop songs go, it's among the most sophisticated ever written. With Andy Summers' memorable guitar lick amongst the most immediately identifiable in rock history, what makes the song stand out is the fact that when you hear it on the radio, you think of it as a love song, but it's not. It's actually anything but, with Sting himself calling it a nasty song about obsession, surveillance, and control.
I'm having a wonderful time.
It marked the culmination in some ways of the Police's work as a band, with them the bridge between new wave, pop, and even a little reggae worked into the repertoire. It was their only song to top the US Billboard Hot 100, and it was part of their defining album Synchronicity. But sadly, it was during the composition of this very song that tensions between the band, which was composed of Sting, Summers, and Stuart Copeland, started to fray, with an ironic they split following their single greatest success as a band. To this day, it might be one of the most immediately identifiable songs ever written, where if you hear just the note of it, you pretty much know exactly what it is. Up next is Africa by Toto. While initially mocked as a silly pop song, I don't know if many tracks have stood the test of time like Africa has. Sporting the most misquoted set of lyrics ever, it's "I bless the rains down in Africa," not "I miss the rains down in Africa," or "I guess it rains down in Africa." It's been called the perfect marriage of the terrible and the good. With the lyrics long criticized as somewhat nonsensical and inaccurate as far as what Africa really is like goes. Toto itself wasn't too high on the song, with it nearly cut from their album, as many of the band members just thought it was silly. Yet it became one of the most enduring pop songs of all time, with it constantly brought back into the zeitgeist through its repeated use in movies, TV, and yes, even video games. It's currently the third most streamed song on Spotify from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, with it only behind Oasis's Wonderwall and Bohemian Rhapsody. Even folks who initially hated the song have come around to view it as a classic, and more than any song on this list, it's one that can't help but put a big smile on your face, which is the definition of what pop should be. And we're going to finish off the list with Like a Virgin by Madonna, because hey, when you start a list with Michael Jackson, you gotta end it with the other biggest pop music icon of the decade, and that's Madonna. Before Like a Virgin, she'd had a few major hits like Borderline, Holiday, and Lucky Star, but it was Like a Virgin that solidified her image. She was tough, sexy, and urban, capable of transgressing against the mainstream, but she also looked like the girl next door in some ways.
I'm Madonna in Los Angeles. Good morning, America.
Madonna in a wedding dress singing the song on MTV VMAs might be the moment that solidified her superstardom, and to this day she remains the biggest single influence on generations of female pop stars, such as Britney Spears, Miley Cyrus, Lady Gaga, who's essentially Madonna 2.0, Sabrina Carpenter, Taylor Swift, and anyone else you can mention. Her look and charisma were tailor-made for MTV, and the song became a staple of her repertoire. While maybe not her greatest hit, when you think of Madonna, you can't help but start humming this song to yourself. It was kind of a crossroads between pop stardom and being a cultural provocateur, an aspect to Madonna's persona that would grow through the 80s and set her apart from everyone else. She got so big that she even tried to launch a career as a movie star, and while some sneer at this, she actually had a lot more success doing so than any of her contemporaries. It all started with Like a Virgin. One thing that really stands out when you look back at these songs is how much they define not only just music, but culture itself. The 80s weren't just about hits, they were about moments. Whether it was Michael Jackson debuting the moonwalk, a-ha revolutionizing music videos, Sting quietly subverting expectations, Toto accidentally creating one of the most enduring sing-alongs ever, or Madonna rewriting the rules of what a pop star could be, these were not just songs that you listened to. They were songs that you listened to over and over and over and over and over again. And it's worth noting how many of these tracks have had a second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, infinite lives, thanks to modern media. Stranger Things, TikTok, movie soundtracks, social media, and even ironic meme culture have introduced these songs to an entirely new generation, and they're in some ways just as popular now as they ever were. None of them feel dated. If anything, they sound fresher than a lot of what's on the charts today. And I'd say that most songs that are popular these days have in their DNA at least one of these songs. And that's perhaps what's really the greatest thing about 80s pop. It wasn't all just about catchy hooks, although there were plenty of those. It was about looks. It was about production. It was about visuals. And it was about personality. Artists weren't afraid to swing for the fences, and more often than not, they connected in a way that was just massive. And while those are our picks for the biggest pop songs of the decade, we want to know what would make your list. Let us know in the comments on this video, and until then, long live the 80s.
One day out of life, it would be.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. Joe Blow was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.